All right, welcome to the Drill Down Podcast. We are always looking at the 50 most important companies in technology. And one of the most interesting things, obviously, going on in technology, maybe everything going on in technology, is artificial intelligence and the changes in the offerings in the world of artificial intelligence. And that doesn't just happen here in Silicon Valley. It goes well beyond, which brings us to Coveo, a really interesting Canadian company dealing with a lot of interesting opportunities in the world of AI. And joining us right now is Laurent Simoneau, the CEO, that I'm trying like high school French accent, Laurent, is how to say your name. I hope I got that all right.
You're doing great, Corey. Glad to be with you.
So tell me about Coveo and where you guys sit in the world, in particular in the world as it relates to agentic AI.
Of course. Thank you, Corey. So we are a SaaS provider that is the backbone for customers who want to power their digital experiences with search, recommendations, personalization. And we've been doing that for a long time. We're recognized as one of the leaders in the market around customer service and the commerce markets. What has happened over the past 2 years is search has evolved into what we call generative search and generative answering, where our ability to capture all of this content within the enterprise and make it searchable also allows us to use it to ground large language models to generate an answer that is contextual, that is personalized, and that is secured and personalized for the user that is looking for that specific information. What we are doing now is we're serving this across hundreds of customers across those two markets to really optimize for specific outcomes. And we're now integrating part of agentic workflows where not only the user will ask for the information, but now agentic workflows will also ask for the information to achieve their goals and achieve their outcomes. So it's a quite exciting period for us.
So it's interesting because I think so many of the conversations about agentic AI are that agentic AI is sort of the next step beyond a chat, or the next step beyond search, or at least the way that people have used it in their first experiences, consumers have used in business, I guess, also using AI, large language models. It sounds like to you, though, it's and to Coveo, it sits on top of search. It's the next iteration of search.
It is absolutely the next iteration of search. You have to consider agentic AI as a series of workflows that are designed to help you to make decisions, achieve goals, achieve a series of actions to come to an outcome. How can you do that if you're not connected to the best information and the best contextual and personalized information? So our job is to provide that to those agentic frameworks, while also at the same time providing a classic interactive search interface and generative search interface for millions of users daily.
How does that different from what we see right now, which is often called AI-powered search?
That's exactly what we do, Corey. We've been doing AI-powered search for more than 10 years. We've been doubling down on what we call relevance, meaning the ability to understand the intent of the user with the context, with permission, to achieve an outcome like in commerce. To give you an example, do you want to lift your revenue if you're a merchandiser or a commerce site, or augment your conversion, or maybe augment your margins and profits? So AI-powered search is the ability to optimize for these goals. In customer service, we optimize for case deflection, for instance. So a customer like Zero Software, when they enable Coveo with our generative search, they increase by 21% case deflection versus the previous Coveo version that they had before. So all of this is driven by AI. We've been calling that AI-powered search for a long time, and the key ingredient under the hood is the relevance part.
It sounds like what you're able to do now, however, is very different than what you were able to do 2 years ago.
Absolutely. So 2 years ago, the key output were search results. So the blue links or the product catalog, if you want. Now, today, we had this hybrid approach where when you're asking something that looks like a question, we're going to generate an answer, a long answer and deep answer based on the content that we've already indexed and that we've provided through search. So if you want to navigate through a website or through a product catalog, the search results will be perfect to do that. If you're asking for a specific question that deserves an answer, we're going to generate it based on this content that is specific to the site you're on.
Sounds like it's also based on how your customer wants to present their content, not just on and fitting that with the provider's needs and desires with the questions from the questioner, if you will, or the searcher.
And that's so true. That's so true. And there's a fragile balance between the user intent. So what am I looking for? And the merchandiser's or the administrator's goals, right? So do you want to increase conversion or you want to increase revenues? And from a user perspective, what are you looking for? You want to have relevant results at the same time. So combining both is really the essence of relevance and the essence of Coveo does. Once you have that, then you can use the output of that to also generate answers on top of those search results, which is quite powerful.
It sounds like, obviously it's a very hot space. I'm here in Silicon Valley in San Francisco specifically, which we now call Silicon Valley because we've moved up the stack. But I think that this is a grand Corey theory, not to go too deep down the rabbit hole. But my notion is that technology has moved north in the San Francisco Bay Area. It has moved from the bottom of the stack to the top of the stack. And that when we used to make silicon and hard drives in Silicon Valley, that was way back down there in San Jose. And they mowed down the fields with stone fruit and replaced it with factories. But as AI as compute became more software based, it got mid-valley, maybe go to Oracle or Redwood City or something. Then when we get to actually using technology for consumers, when we've got Twitter and we've got Uber and we've got all the company and advertising, you're here in San Francisco and Silicon Valley is suddenly up here. And we see that happening quickly with AI, where you and I are talking about AI-related search and the ways that individuals, consumers are at their computers or on their phones getting AI experience. Well, I am surrounded here in San Francisco with AI startups, and you must see lots of competition coming into your space all over the world.
Oh, it's a very dynamic market, Corey, and there's a lot of innovation in the market. So our view, we are a little bit old school in a way that we love building products that do work and can be measured. So our customers, they will test Coveo in a classic A/B test that will be a few days or a week long, and they're going to measure Coveo against alternatives. It can be homegrown projects built by their AI team. It can be one of those startups that has a lot of prestige and excitement. And typically, Coveo will win 9 times out of 10 because we care about this relevance layer and we can measure those results. We measure accuracy, we measure case deflection. In commerce, as I said, we measure lift in revenue. So that's how we operate.
Can you break those things down? Those things you measure, break them down for me a little bit.
So first of all, accuracy is how many times are you going to provide and generate an answer that the end user thinks is a good answer. So it may be good, it may be okay, but it can't be a lie, right? So large language models, I'm sure you're familiar, have this tendency to lie with a lot of confidence. That's what we call hallucination. They are not designed to say, I don't know. So if they don't know because they don't have the right information at hand, they will make up something that looks reasonably good. If you're in the business of sports trivia, it's okay, right?
Which you apparently are.
I am.
You've got your expos knowledge tight.
But if you're in the sports trivia business, being inaccurate, the impact is not that bad. If you're in the business of selling ETFs, and you're having a question about tax implication of this specific ETF in a specific country, you better be darn precise. So what we do with our ability to surface the best documents and the best excerpt of those documents that we call passages through semantic search and lexical search. So it's a hybrid approach where we measure precision and coverage. So we surface that. If we're not sure about the quality of this, we just show the search results, Corey. We don't want to generate an answer on average or bad information, and we're proud of that.
Or like it seems that a lot of the models, particularly 6 months, a year ago, and before that, went towards the most likely result, not the best. Seems like this might be right.
It's a tendency that you have in this market. In the good old days, search results, you could intuitively see the quality of the search results just in the title and the excerpts, right? And you would say, this is coming from the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times. Presumably, it's better than Joe's blog in Quebec City. Now, everything comes out of this beautiful large language model, being ChatGPT or others, and it's polished, it's eloquent, it's beautiful, even if it says inaccuracies and lies. So it's very dangerous, hence why we are leveraging all of the information from a customer to ground those answers and stop the generation if it's not good enough.
And then what are the other two things you mentioned that you measure the most?
So we're going to measure the outcomes that is desired by a customer. So in commerce, how much lift can we achieve in revenues, for example, or in conversion using Coveo versus what's already there? So typically customers will start an A/B test and send 10% or 20% of the volume to Coveo and measure revenue lift for those sessions versus the standard. And typically we're going to create lift between 5 and 15% in the first few weeks. So then customers will be confident to move the entire volume to Coveo. So that's another example of how we measure the value of Coveo.
When you look at your competitors, what are the core differentiators? Obviously, you measure better, or you think you measure better, or you're telling me you measure better, and that's fine. But what are the biggest differences between the way your competitors approach these issues compared to what Coveo does?
Right. So first of all, at the top of this, we really focus on those two big use cases: commerce on one side and what we call knowledge on the other side. So think about customer service and dealing with information. So some vendors are more horizontal and are more a platform with different components that can be used by developers to build their own solution. By focusing on those two big areas, we have built specific AI models about relevance that allows us to increase the accuracy and to increase the quality of those results. So that's a big deal, right? Is the focus on those two areas that is a big differentiator with other folks in the market. And then I would say because of that, we have the ability to provide packaged applications at the start where business people in a very quick timeline can start seeing those results appearing instead of building everything from scratch. And now we have all of the interoperability capabilities, so Coveo can deliver results very quickly, but that then can be part of a bigger infrastructure, including agentic, including additional experiences and so on that we have powered.
So you're saying your competitors sort of start from scratch. They don't sort of they don't have something they can go to market with pretty quick. They've got to kind of rebuild the mousetrap.
Some competitors that are very successful are more the infrastructure layer, and they will provide these components and these capabilities for a team of developers to basically build their own Coveo. It takes more time. It's more expensive to build. It's more expensive to maintain. So That's one area. And then after that, you have a few. You have some niche vendors that want to be very good at, let's say, B2C commerce, but then they don't care about B2B commerce, which is basically what manufacturers and distributors are using. So we cover all of that. And it's quite important. We believe it's quite important because we're seeing convergence between those different markets. So think about a large distributor or large manufacturer that is providing a B2B commerce experience for its own customers. Well, these customers at one point, they may need to have a support experience also. They may want to ask questions about a product. Maybe their question down the road, you don't know if they are going to buy something or they just need help for something, right? So having the ability to do both is critically important for us, we believe, in the future. And we're seeing this as a huge opportunity.
Talking about the balancing between complexity and simplicity, or simplicity and optionality, if you will, right? We've all seen those on a daily basis. We see fails along those lines.
Yeah. So Coveo's heritage is in the enterprise. We care about large customers with very important
which is
problems.
a place where simplicity, not known for simplicity in software offerings or anything else.
So that's correct. So we start with that, right? We start at the enterprise. We start with big problems. Now, at the same time, these customers, like anyone else, they want to see results very quickly. They want to see results. They want to see an ROI in the short term. So then they may want to invest more with you. So the element of simplicity is critically important. We've got to remove friction. We've got to make it easy for customers to test it, as I just mentioned, and to de-risk the investment in Coveo down the road. So with examples like generative answering in the context of knowledge, or AI-powered search and commerce, those are typically slam dunks in terms of deploying this very quickly and validating and getting results also. So we're bringing simplicity to large, complex enterprise deals, Corey, if it makes sense.
Maybe we might end with having you give me an example, maybe a concrete enterprise case where you've delivered results in days and not weeks.
So, of course. So, are you familiar with a company like Xero Software? They are the Atlassian of accounting. For those who are not familiar with them, more than 4 million subscribers, and organizations are building on Xero Software. Very quickly, we deployed Coveo to power search, recommendation, personalization on their support portal. And very quickly, they measured case deflection in double digits. So before and after Coveo, number of cases dropped substantially. And then they looked at that and said, okay, but we would love to bring that experience closer to where users really are. So they brought Coveo in a matter of weeks within their product. So you have the support portal, and now within the Xero product, you also have the ability to use Coveo to resolve your problems, to find information, and so on. Now, what's really cool is within the product, if you're an account receivable or account payable, the same query may have a slightly different answer. So we are using personalization and contextualization to inform the answer. So that's an expansion of the scope. And now, to ensure consistency, they're bringing the same capabilities and making that available into their multiple chat experiences and their WhatsApp channel, and so on. Again, the same question in different channels should provide consistent answers, but the start was the support portal in a matter of weeks.
And probably a measurable return on investment.
In weeks. So at the scale, imagine a company with scale of 0 at 4 million customers. Imagine cutting by 20+% the number of cases. So you can very rapidly compute the initial ROI, and then you go on in multiple additional steps. So it's very obvious.
Laurent Simoneau is the CEO of Coveo. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And now it's time for the drill down bite, the one number that tells us a whole lot about Coveo. That bite is 25%. 25% of Coveo's new business bookings last quarter came from the use of AI. And to me, that's a clear indication of agentic AI-driven forward demand and acceleration of that demand for Coveo and, hey, all of us. All right, the company did, by context, $34.4 million in Q4 revenue. All right, thanks for listening to Drill Down Insider. I'm Corey Johnson. Please follow me on X at Corey TV and on TikTok, Instagram, and yes, on YouTube for all of our commentary and our video research notes. We want you to subscribe to us so you can see everything that we do here at Epistrophe Capital Research, and yes, on the Drill Down. Thanks for watching.